Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas was the first Quantum class cruise ship in the class, and it still holds up as a really impressive cruise ship. Perhaps you're sailing her to Alaska or maybe to Australia or points in between. It has features and amenities on board that really do stand out. From being able to soar 300 feet above sea level in the North Star, or even bumper cars, seeing some amazing shows. Quantum of the Seas has a lot to check out, and today we've got a full walkthrough tour of Quantum of the Seas up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Quantum of the Seas was launched in 2014, and she's one of the biggest cruise ships in the world, of course part of the Quantum class. In fact, she was the first of the Quantum class ships. It offers bumper cars, laser tag, circus school, 270 theater, and a whole lot more. Of course, Quantum of the Seas has really been all over the world. She started off in the United States, went to Asia for quite a while, and now has transitioned into the Alaska and Australia cruise market. But wherever she sails from, the good news is she's prepared for any kind of weather, because if it's cold weather, you've got a lot of indoor facilities. But if it's warm weather, there's still plenty to do that's going to satisfy passengers of all ages, anywhere of any temperature. So it's really conducive for cruising in almost any kind of weather. But let's jump right into it here and take you on a full walkthrough tour of Quantum of the Seas, because no doubt you want to see this ship for yourself as well. As always, we start off our cruise ship tours on the top pool deck, and Quantum of the Seas has a rather large pool deck, plenty to see, but of course at the heart of it is the main pool. So the main pool is an outdoor pool, and here you can go and enjoy well time by the pool, in the pool, around the pool. And you can see here, even in Alaska, there are people in the water. So oftentimes people ask, you know, depending on the weather, is it too cold to go in? But it's never too cold. Something else for little kids they have on Quantum of the Seas is a wave pool. So it's not like a Splashaway Bay or Aqua Park you might find on other cruise ships, but there is this low depth water that kids that are, you know, not quite ready to swim yet can enjoy. But for the adults and kids as well, they also have the main pool. There are also hot tubs, and these hot pools and hot tubs are open every day of your cruise, and it's great to go in here. In fact, a lot of people will actually go into the hot tub in Alaska. Yeah, it's cold outside, but in the water, plenty warm and very comfortable. Getting out, maybe a different story. Now, it wouldn't be a Royal Caribbean cruise ship pool deck without complimentary ice cream, Sprinkles ice cream that you can get here. There's a crew member that will serve you, and you can get as much of it as you want throughout the cruise. Open most hours of the day. Get in, grab one, and you're good to go. Next on our tour is the Splashaway Cafe. So this venue actually changes depending on where the ship is based on. As you can see here, it's very much an Asian theme. That's because Quantum of the Seas spent a lot of years in Asia, and they converted over what used to be Johnny Rockets into a Asian restaurant. But here in North America and in Australia as well, they use it for Splashaway Cafe, which offers complimentary items that you can enjoy during your cruise. More of a grab and go kind of spot. The motif is still there, but the menu changes. Again, depending on your sailing, it may vary in terms of what you find over here. Next on the pool deck, of course, are plenty of lounge chairs, and there are all over lounge chairs that you can enjoy. The lounge chairs are first come, first serve. Royal Caribbean does want you, though, to make sure you only use the lounge chairs when you're actually there to lounge, so not to reserve them and then come back many hours later. But you'll find a variety of seating around the pool deck to enjoy. Some are chairs, some are couches, some are Adirondack chairs. There's a variety of seating to enjoy. And obviously on sea days, the pool deck can be a little busy, especially when the sun is shining and it's quite warm outside. So it's more of a first come, first serve. But I think if you get up there early enough in the morning, you should have no problem. Let's hit the Sky Bar next. Sky Bar is one of the bars at the pool deck. And there's actually two decks to the Sky Bar. There's, I guess, the lower deck, which is the Sky Bar, and then there's the North Star Bar. In either case, both bars offer, well, as you might imagine, plenty of cocktails and libations to enjoy with your view. The North Star Bar, appropriately named because it's right below the North Star, which we'll see in just a moment. But the North Star Bar has some better views, more sweeping views, great for sail-aways, sail-ins, because again, that vantage point is the perfect spot. And I really like the comfortable couches and chairs they have here. It's a little bit different and just a great perspective. I think this is one of the underrated spots to enjoy sail away on any Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Of course, it's gonna be pretty busy because it's pretty easy to spot this place. But if you can get a spot here for sail away, I think this might be one of my favorite spot on Quantum of the Seas. Now here is the aforementioned North Star. North Star is an observational pod that you can go into, and it'll take you up to 300 feet above sea level to enjoy unparalleled views. Now, North Star is complimentary while your ship is in port, but does cost extra while you're at sea. When you're in port, the North Star only goes a little bit off to the side of the ship, whereas at sea, you can go more in different directions, but in either case, it takes you up and gives you some really incredible views. The great thing about North Star is just that it's not unlike anything else you might have experienced, certainly on a cruise ship. It's just the views you get here are really cool. Now, the ride is only about 15 minutes maybe, so it's pretty quick and not too scary or anything like that. Let's hit the indoor pool. Something I love about Quantum of the Seas is the fact they have an indoor pool in addition to the outdoor main pool. So this pool is just like the outdoor pool, but indoors, which means it's available to all guests. It is not adults only. Kids can come in here, families come in here, adults can come in here obviously as well. But I just love this because it's always perfect swimming weather in here, which is great if you're on Quantum of the Seas for an Alaska cruise, or maybe it's raining outside or whatever the case may be outdoors. It's always perfect in here. And they have a little splash area, which is great for littler kids, so you don't have to worry about them getting a little over their head. There's also plenty of seating in here, and in general, if the sun is shining, I find the indoor pool to be less crowded, less busy than the outdoor pool. There is a pool bar in the indoor pool, so don't worry about having to get a drink in here. There's still plenty of opportunities, and there's nice little patio chairs that you can go to enjoy your drink, or just find a spot to sit down and enjoy it all. Next up is the Tide Trail, which is a store that you can go to get different equipment if you're going to go snorkeling or just enjoying some outdoor time. Again, check that out to purchase some of those items there. And being in the indoor pool as well, you're gonna have some great viewing spots. Oh, by the way, speaking of the pools, we should talk about the life jackets here, which are available to use for free. So if your kids, or adults for that matter, don't know how to swim, or they're not great at it, you can get one for free with those life vests. There's also pool towels that you can get from the pool deck to enjoy. Just make sure you return it, because if you don't return it by the end of the cruise, Royal Caribbean will charge you $25 per towel. So just bring it back. But pool towels are totally complimentary. You don't need to bring any pool towels with you at home. Next up is the solarium. So the solarium is an adults only area of the pool deck, and the solarium is meant for guests 16 and above. That's the definition of adult, by the way, in Royal Caribbean's eyes. So you need to be 16 years old or older to spend time here. It's okay if your kids want to walk through here to get from point A to point B, but this pool area is reserved specifically for adults only. And just like the indoor pool, it is totally enclosed in the solarium, which means that it's always climate controlled, a very warm temperature in here. And the solarium features some great views. It's right at the front of the ship. So when you're talking about going into some amazing places, whether it's Alaska or Australia or anywhere else in between, you get some fantastic viewpoints from the solarium because you're right at the front of the ship on a high deck. It's great. And the fact that it's totally enclosed means that, again, whether it's hot or cold or rainy or sunny or whatever, the weather is always perfect in the solarium. Something else really neat about the solarium are these cascading pools. It makes this kind of a resort feel, if you will. Now, of course, you'll find hot tubs in the solarium as well, and these hot tubs, just like the pools, are available to use at your leisure. And I love that the hot tubs are right near the windows as well. And you also notice that the pools are a little bit see-through. Makes it a little interesting when you're seeing who's in there. But really, the solarium is meant to be an oasis, if you will, for adults to be able to enjoy some quieter times. The pool deck has music, has the activities, and the adults area in the solarium here is more about just having a calming experience. I mean, you'll find adults having a good time. Don't worry, it's not a library by any means. But anyway, you'll also find the solarium bar where you can enjoy, again, more opportunities for that drink. And if you have a Royal Caribbean drink package, it works here. And of course, every bar and lounge around the ship as well. And a great spot to read a book as well as at the front of the solarium. Great views right up there against the windows. Don't overlook the bridge wings, which is one of the best hidden secrets on Quantum of the Seas. And if you go to the bridge wings, which you go through the solarium to the left or to the right, you can enjoy some fantastic views out there. And by the way, your kids can go to the bridge wings totally fine. Again, they're just walking through the solarium, not hanging out there. And for the bridge wings, it's just incredible views. For sightseeing, especially when you're sailing in, like in Alaska here or anywhere, it is probably the best vantage point. You can get windy out there, and it's obviously not enclosed, so, you know, rain and what have you might be an issue, but there is no doubt the best vantage point is on those bridge wings. Next up, we have to look at a new restaurant here, and that is Solarium Bistro. Located within the Solarium, Solarium Bistro is a complimentary restaurant that should be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In the morning, you'll have breakfast staples like yogurt and fruit and eggs and sausage and other continental classics. At lunch, Solarium Bistro changes over to more of a Mediterranean offerings. And then at dinner, you'll also find a lot of other Mediterranean choices. The great thing about the Solarium Bistro truly is the fact it's a great alternative. Most people don't even know it exists. My favorite spot for breakfast because it's so uncrowded. And the nice thing is also it's a different menu selection. So it's not just Windjammer Part 2. It offers more selections and more variety of food, but still you can find some of those classic items that you're looking for. Some of those, again, traditional classic staples. It's always nice there. And by the way, yes, your kids can eat at the Solarium Bistro. It's totally fine, even though they have to walk through the Solarium. It gets kind of confusing because the Solarium pool area is for adults, but the Bistro restaurant is for guests of all ages. Let's go back out to the pool deck and enjoy some of those views on a higher deck. Again, the pool deck on Quantum of the Seas has 2 different decks to it, so you can enjoy views on both. There's chairs on both. There's advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, the upper pool deck is to be a little windier, more exposed to the elements, which if it's sunny and nice out is great. But if it's rainy, the lower pool deck may be more advantageous. But you'll find chairs here to enjoy, whether it's rainy or not. It's up to you to be able to enjoy it one way or another. Let's walk to the back of the ship now, as we walk towards the aft of Quantum of the Seas, and we're gonna run into the sports area here. There are plenty of activities to enjoy during your cruise. Let's kick things off with the Flow Rider Surf Simulator. The Flow Rider allows you to try your hand at stand-up surfing or boogie boarding. It is complimentary, first come, first serve. There can be lines for it, as you might imagine. And there are also private lessons you can book as well if you prefer to not necessarily wait in line and get a little more time on there. But the cool thing about it is you get to try it out and you wipe out, it's someone else's turn, but something fun to do, and it's become a Royal Caribbean staple. Another signature activity on Quantum of the Seas is Ripcord by iFly, which is a skydiving simulator. You heard that right, skydiving on a cruise ship. Essentially, you put on special wind suits, and then they take you into this wind tunnel, and the wind is so strong with the fans below that you're able to really float as if you were doing a skydiving out of a perfectly good airplane without the fear, of course, of plummeting to the ground. It's a complimentary activity, but you need to book it early because they will sell out. In addition, the Quantum of the Seas has a rock climbing wall, another complimentary activity to enjoy. First come, first serve, and there's multiple tracks, some with more advanced tracks than others. So if you're new, you can choose the beginner track. If you've been there, done that, and you're an avid rock climber, well, then there's plenty of rock walls to try out. And the best part, of course, you get to the top, ring that bell and check it out. Quantum of the Seas, like all the Quantum class ships, has a larger than life art figure. Here it's a large bear. On other ships it's a different type of animal, but it's a great photo opportunity and one of those things that really makes Quantum of the Seas truly stand out. So get a photo, try the rock climbing wall. It's a great way to spend your day. And then, of course, on the back of the ship on Quantum of the Seas, there's plenty of viewing. And this is a great spot when you're in Alaska or you just want to see the scenery around you. The back of the pool deck is vastly underrated as a spot to go to enjoy these views. Again, you can see some amazing things on your Royal Caribbean cruise, especially on a ship like Quantum that visits places like Alaska, the South Pacific. So don't just assume the front of the ship is the place to go. We talked about the Solarium and just being amazing with those views there, but there's some great viewing areas on the back of the ship as well. And that's what really makes a ship like Quantum so impressive and such a great ship to sail on to Alaska, because you're not compromising on what the ship has to offer. And it also has a lot of cool things to do on board that's also weather enclosed. Speaking of enclosed space, let's go to the Seaplex, which is a sports court, multi-purpose sports court, I should say, that is available on Quantum of the Seas and totally enclosed, which means you can always enjoy it no matter the weather. The main area has a variety of activities. You'll find badminton, pickleball, soccer, volleyball, and a variety of other activities as well. It changes throughout the day. Here we have roller skating. And the best part of the Seaplex is these activities here are totally complimentary. Oh, wait, I didn't mention bumper cars? Yeah, you can do bumper cars on Quantum of the Seas, totally free. It's just gotta wait in line for your turn there. But it's a really cool activity and just something neat that you're only gonna find on a ship like Quantum of the Seas. In addition to the activities in the sports court area, there's also different video games that you can enjoy up on the upper part of the Seaplex. These are called the pods areas. And there's an Xbox area. There are arcade games. The arcade games, as you might imagine, do cost extra. The Xbox, I believe, is complimentary. Just first come, first serve. I remember the one time I went up to the Xbox area because I wanted to play a video game or two. And there were these teens there that was like, Grandpa, what are you doing here? Like, I wanted to play, but then I felt out of place and I left. You'll also find ping pong that is complimentary to enjoy and try your hand at that. It's gonna be a very fun activity. In fact, if you're a big ping pong player, look for a tournament throughout the cruise. In addition, there's the arcade here. So if your kids or you want to pay for your video games, there's an arcade here that you can enjoy. The arcade, like many Royal Caribbean cruise ships, has pay for play. So the amount that the game costs depends on the game itself, but you can simply swipe your SeaPass card and be able to play some of these games. If you're like my kids, all they want to do is play the crane games, but you know, I always tell them that's a waste of money. Go play a real video game. I digress. But regardless of that, the arcade can be a spot that you could take your kids to, or pretend doesn't exist until your kids there isn't an arcade on this ship, and your secret's safe with me. Also, you're gonna find the Seaplex Doghouse within the Seaplex. If you want something to eat or a quick drink, this is your spot for you. The Doghouse is complimentary, and you get to customize your hot dog or sausage just the way you want it, with sauerkraut, onions, different types of buns, different types of sausages themselves. Either way, it's included here, and the drinks are available as well. Of course, the drinks do cost extra if you want to get, you know, a beer or a soda, but you could get those here as well. And the nice thing about it is that it's convenient. You'll also find Coca-Cola freestyle machines, not only here in the Doghouse, but around the ship as well. If you have a drink package, then you can use the freestyle machine in order to customize your sodas as you see fit. But the nice thing about the Doghouse is it's located here in the Seaplex. So if you're in the Seaplex already, it's great. But a lot of people forget that it actually exists. If you're not spending time in the Seaplex, you may overlook it completely. But make sure you take a visit over there, because who doesn't like a great hot dog? For the Seaplex itself, though, what I think really makes it stand out is the fact that it is enclosed, and teens absolutely love it. It's a great spot for them. Speaking of teens, you also find the Fuel nightclub here. So Fuel is an area specifically for teens. It's their teen club in here, and they can go and enjoy activities. And it's more of a curated activity. It's unlike Adventure Ocean, which we'll see in a little bit, which has more specific programming per se. Teens, being teens, want to be able to hang out with other teens and maybe have something going on, but again, don't want to necessarily have too much of a specific curated itinerary, and this is what they have here. The living room is more of the teen club. So the living room is the club, Fuel is like the nightclub, if you will. But this area is, again, meant for teens to be able to meet, mingle, and maybe do an activity or two together. As usually is the case, most teens will meet here in the beginning of the cruise, meet other kids that are on board the ship, and then they kind of do their own thing and come back and forth depending on what's happening in the teen club. Teen club is more of a hub, and I feel like a lot of teens come here, hang out, meet others, and then maybe they venture off to get something to eat, go do an activity that's listed in the cruise planner, and then return later on. When it's time to get something to eat, well, you're probably gonna head over to the Windjammer Marketplace. And the Windjammer is the buffet on Royal Caribbean's cruise ship. So this is your traditional cruise ship buffet. And when you're in the Windjammer, you're gonna find a great variety of food. Windjammer is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's totally complimentary here to get your food. You'll find a variety of cooking stations, whether you're talking about salads or fruits or fresh made pastas or international foods or breads. There's a lot of food. So no matter how picky you are, you'll probably find something good to eat here in the Windjammer, and it's complimentary. And as I mentioned, it's open for all meals, which is a really nice option. Whether you're here to go quickly to grab something to eat, or you want to have, this is just you prefer, more of a casual dining experience, Windjammer is the place for you. Something you're going to want to look for in the Windjammer, of course, are going to be cooking stations. So in addition to the prepared foods you'll find in the buffet trays, there's also like live cooking stations that can make you pastas or soups or what have you. Anyway, take a look for those as well. There's also a beverage station within the Windjammer where you can get coffees and waters. So, you know, there's an assortment of drinks that are included with your cruise fare, including coffee and water and tea. But in addition to that, you can always get sodas and beers and wines, and those cost extra, as you might imagine. You'll also find seating all around the Windjammer. A lot of people just end up picking the first table they can find, but the seating actually extends all the way to the back and even out to the deck. So if you're looking for less crowded seating, keep walking backwards. There's actually a fair amount of seating towards the back of the Windjammer, and it's far less crowded out there with some great views of the ocean. But my absolute favorite place to eat on Quantum of the Seas is right here on the back of the Windjammer in the outdoor seating area. There's something great about having your lunch, dinner, or breakfast, seeing the ship's wake, and of course the amazing scenery go by. One of the mantras if you're sailing to Alaska is you want to see all the amazing things around you, so you always have to be outside. And this is a great way to be able to enjoy your food, but still be outside, and it's a great viewing point for that. Next up, we have a view of Coastal Kitchen, which is the suites only restaurant on Quantum of the Seas. And this is more of a trendy and slightly more elegant special restaurant just for suite guests. If you're staying in a grand suite and above, you get to eat here for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, complimentary every day of the cruise. If you're in a junior suite, you get to come here for dinner only. But essentially, Coastal Kitchen is more of an upscale main dining room specifically for suite guests only. The menu described by Royal Caribbean is California cool meets the warmth of the Mediterranean, and the Coastal Kitchen tends to focus on healthy fare and fresh ingredients. Breakfast will have omelets and eggs and other typical main dining room food. And for dinner, you might find bass ceviche, Napa charcuterie, chicken, salmon dishes, and other things as well. Let's head on downstairs. And by the way, something cool about Quantum of the Seas is this see-through floor that's located right by the Windjammer. Kind of a neat thing to check out. We're gonna take the elevator downstairs and check out the Royal Esplanade. And we're gonna start off with the Via. So the Via is a conduit area between the Esplanade, which we'll see in a little bit, and the back of the ship. And it's this quaint little area that you can essentially, I don't know, it's more calming, I guess. It's just got a neat little hallway that brings you right into this large venue that you can enjoy some seats with. I think this area is meant to be more of just like a calming place to sit down and have a conversation. You also find within the Via a number of shops to check out. So if you're interested in shopping for some fine jewelry, well, then there's plenty of shops here to peruse. And of course, all these things do cost extra and quite a bit extra, but if jewelry, watches are your thing, you'll find that here. There's also Jamie's Italian, which is a specialty restaurant on Quantum of the Seas. This restaurant costs extra, and it's the Jamie's Italian, which is inspired by, of course, the famous celebrity chef Jamie Oliver from the UK. And this is a more modern take on Italian classics. Don't worry, you're still gonna find, you know, spaghettis and different pastas and things of that nature, but it's rather than having a checkerboard traditional Italian fare, the food at Jamie's Italian is more, again, more of a modern take, more of a fresher take, if you will, on classic Italian food. I really like Jamie's Italian though, because at the end of the day, it's still Italian food, still really satisfying, and there's still plenty of pastas and parmesans to enjoy and salads. Oh, it's so good. So if you're interested in a specialty restaurant meal, Jamie's Italian is a great one. Of course, with any specialty restaurant, whether it's Jamie's or any of the other specialty restaurants we're gonna see, there is an additional cost to dine here. This is a cover charge restaurant. You pay one cover charge, and that covers your entire meal. You could also purchase a dining package, and a dining package allows you to enjoy either a certain amount of meals or, in fact, all the meals. There's an unlimited dining package during your cruise for a fixed price. The good thing about a dining package is they tend to be cheaper than if you purchase the restaurant individually, but of course, it requires more of an upfront cost. Next up is Vintage's Wine Bar. This wine bar is, well, serves up a lot of wine. If you're a wine lover, if your name is Don and Judy, or you're just simply looking for a glass or bottle of it, this is the place to go, because the wine bar in Quantum of the Seas has really the most and greatest selection of wines on board. Vintage's is a great place to check out. I really love the comfy chairs. I gotta say, whether you're into wine or not, some of the best seating is located here in Vintage's. Moving to the back and outside of Vintage's, we're gonna keep walking back towards the aft of the ship. On our way, we're gonna pass by some of the art galleries and the Next Cruise office. If you're looking to book a Royal Caribbean cruise, Next Cruise offers extra onboard credit and reduced deposit. Basically, Next Cruise is really good if you're on board Quantum and you say, boy, this is great, let's book another cruise. Then stop by Next Cruise, make an appointment, and book another cruise. But if you're watching this at home and you want to book another cruise, your best bet is to still book the cruise now, because the price can change and negate any of those savings you might have gotten from Next Cruise. But find yourself on board the ship and want to do another one, well then stop by and book another cruise. As I mentioned, there's also the Park West art galleries here. So they'll do art auctions throughout the cruise, and if you want to preview some of the art, you'll find it here in between Next Cruise and 270, which we'll see in just a moment. Our next stop is Cafe at 270, which is a complimentary venue, and this is one of my favorite restaurants on any Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Cafe at 270 is open for breakfast, lunch, and late lunch. It's not quite dinner, but they close right before dinner begins elsewhere on the ship. But essentially, you can go here to grab a sandwich, grab a salad, grab a bagel, coffee. This is really a great alternative to the Windjammer. It's located in the back of the ship, and they offer a pretty good selection of food here. I mean, I think you're gonna find something to satisfy most tastes for, again, breakfast and lunch. In fact, I love going to Cafe 270 for breakfast right before we walk off the ship for a shore excursion, because we can grab something to eat, grab a cup of coffee, so that way my wife is happy, and then be able to get off the ship and explore. Cafe 270 has both complimentary drinks as well as extra cost drinks. So if you have a drink package, your drink package works here to get coffees, but also if you're looking to just, get a cup of coffee the old fashioned way, you can get it at Cafe 270 as well. Here we have 270, which is one of the signature venues on Quantum of the Seas. So 270 is named 270 because it's at the back of the ship and offers a 270-degree view to the ocean behind it. And it's an incredible venue, certainly something you're only going to find on the Quantum class ships. There's a variety of events that'll be held here because it is a theater at the end of the day. So you'll find bingo and you'll find the Quest game show and a variety of other things. But of course, in the evening is really when this venue shines, because this is when the venue comes alive for the performances that were designed specifically for 270. And before we get to that, let's talk about some of the seating, because there's different seating all around 270. And during the daytime, it's actually not a bad spot to just go and watch the ocean going by. There'll be different activities and demonstrations being done in 270. But the really neat part is walk to the back of 270, behind the stage. You're gonna find some really cool seating here. And again, just like the solarium has that awesome view of the front, well, here in 270, you've got amazing views of the back. And because of course it's enclosed, there's some nice viewing spots. You'll also find the library tucked into 270. Library is a complimentary venue where you can borrow a book and then return it later on. Not a ton of selection, but it's just enough. And it's a quiet spot, assuming there isn't a show in 270, for you to go and read a book and maybe check something out there as well. There's also the business office if you're looking to use a computer. Granted, you still have to pay for an internet package to use one, but if you wanted to not bring your own device, this would be an option for you as well back here in the library. But as I mentioned, I think 270 is really important when you get here in the evening hours, because they have shows specifically designed for this venue. It's a beautiful venue, and whether it is day or evening, I do recommend just going to 270 to see what's happening over there. It's a great spot. Next up, let's go to the Royal Esplanade and check out Boleros. Boleros is the Latin-themed bar on Quantum of the Seas. It's basically a staple of any Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Boleros is massive. It's deceivingly massive. Because when you walk in, you're like, oh, this is a nice little bar. And it just keeps going and going and going. Some great seating. And really what Boleros is all about is the live music you're going to find here in the evening. There's almost always a band performing here at night. And let me tell you something, Boleros gets packed at night once the live music really gets going. And also, if you're looking for a great drink recommendation in Boleros, definitely a mojito. The best mojito on Quantum of the Seas is going to be found right in here in Boleros, because they just make it fresh instead of from a mix. Really makes a big difference. Guest services is also located on the Royal Esplanade. So if you have a question, an issue, or a problem, guest services is where you can go to get it solved. Guest service is available 24 hours a day, and no matter what the issue that you have, you can stop here and they'll be able to answer it for you. Let's check out some of the shopping on the Esplanade, starting with The Shop, which is the Royal Caribbean branded logo store. So if you want something that has Royal Caribbean on it or Quantum of the Seas on it, this is the store for you. You're gonna find all the Royal Caribbean branded merchandise here to purchase during your cruise. And there's a variety of different Royal Caribbean lanyards and shirts and sweaters and mugs and ornaments and pretty much anything Royal Caribbean can think of to put their logo on. And for a souvenir to remember your cruise, this is definitely the spot for you. One tip about the shopping, by the way, is in the beginning of the cruise, people really get adamant about buying things. And at the end of the cruise, people really get adamant about buying things. So the lines are really worse in the beginning and the end, but in the middle, usually not too bad. You also find a Coach store on Quantum of the Seas. So yeah, they're like the brand Coach. If you're into Coach bags, it's a place for you to pick up your next Coach bag on Quantum of the Seas. In addition to the shops, you'll also find different shopping within the Esplanade itself. Usually, Royal Caribbean swaps out different pop-up options, whether it's jewelry or clothing for you to check out. They offer different sales. Again, peruse them if you wish. It's good for just like walking by and eyeing something that may or may not be of interest to you, and you can pick it up or not buy it at all. It's up to you. You've also got the Port Merchant store nearby, and the Port Merchant store offers a variety of different things you can buy that are usually duty-free to bring home after the cruise, whether it's liquor or cigarettes. This is the place for you. Something that all Royal Caribbean cruise ships have. And again, if you're looking for duty-free liquor, well, this is pretty much the spot for you on board the ship. You'll also find a variety of different snacks and toiletries you may be able to pick up. Again, very limited toiletries, so don't rely on this, but in an emergency, oops, forgot to pack my toothbrush, well then this is the spot for you. Right next door is La Patisserie, which is the cafe on board the Quantum of the Seas. La Patisserie is, well, a coffee shop where you can get specialty coffees and desserts here. Now, of course, this does cost extra, and similar to some of the other places where they offer coffees like Cafe at 270, this basically serves up your Starbucks-style drinks that do cost extra for you to enjoy. There's also snacks and desserts that cost extra here. I don't know why you'd want to pay extra for desserts here, quite frankly, because there's so many desserts elsewhere. Whereas coffee, I can totally understand. Like, coffee is coffee, and an espresso is important, but there's plenty of snacks elsewhere. But if you're in the mood, hey, it's available here for you. So it's basically the ship's coffee shop. Right across the way is Cafe Promenade, and this is where you can get a snack. So as I mentioned earlier, just now, in fact, you can get something to eat. If you're interested in a snack, well, you can find some desserts or a sandwich at Cafe Promenade, along with complimentary coffees and teas. Basically everything in Cafe Promenade is included, and the variety does change from day to day, so check out what they got here. But since the cost is right, it's a great spot for, again, a quick bite to eat, a cup of coffee in the morning or in the evening for that matter, or even a cup of tea as well. Next door is Sorrento's Pizza. Sorrento's Pizza is the complimentary pizzas restaurant on Quantum of the Seas. They offer a variety of different types of pizzas, cheese, pepperoni, and usually a variety of 2 that change throughout the cruise. Anyway, this is for free, no additional cost here. Grab as many slices as you want, and they can give it to you, and it's available not only during the daytime, but also late at night, which is really popular, and I think the lines usually get much longer here in the evening, but if you're just in the mood for a quick slice of pizza, then Sorrento's is the place to go. One of my favorite places on any recurring cruise ship is the English-style pub. The Harp and Horn is where you'll find this on Quantum of the Seas. And this is an English-style pub, as I mentioned, that has those dark woods and, of course, live music in the evening. This is what draws me. In the daytime, I'm really not going to be spending much time in the pub. But what's great about the pub is in the evening hours, you have a guitarist that plays in there. And it's those kind of songs that you just know the words to, bar songs, drinking songs, and everything in between. I'm a real big fan of the English-style pub on any Royal Caribbean cruise ship. And if you're looking for a great evening activity, this is my spot. Like, after you're just gonna wind down for a little bit, I usually end up in the pub, have some drinks, and enjoy the live music, sing along if I know the words to it. It's just a great spot to hang out, and I really like the Harp and Horn on Quantum of the Seas. There's also the Regalia Fine Jewelry store. The Regalia Fine Jewelry is where you're gonna find, yes, fine jewelry to buy on board. Again, more shopping for your opportunities as you walk towards the front of the ship now. I know you're kind of confusing. Are we going front or going back? Well, 270 is on the other side, so we're definitely going front here. And there's a number of shops, including the Regalia Fine Watches shop as well. And basically, this is more of the shopping you'll find on the Royal Esplanade. Again, the Royal Esplanade has that mix of bars, lounges, restaurants, which we'll see in a little bit, and of course, shopping. So if you're in the mood to get a souvenir, whether it's something you need to use on board the ship or something you just want to bring home with you, well, then this is this place for you. You might notice a lot of Chinese characters on the signs here, and that's because Quantum of the Seas spent some time in Asia. And when she did that, Royal Caribbean had to Asiafy the ship, if you will, in terms of changing some of those signs over. Now, right across from these shops is where you're gonna find the Music Hall. And the Music Hall is a fantastic venue, another Quantum class first, in that this venue offers something you're not gonna find on many other cruise ships. And that's really a live music hall dedicated to live music. But again, it's 2 stories, and the acoustics of it are great. The idea here is to place live bands to perform. Now, during the daytime, like other venues, you'll find other activities like trivia in here. But in the evening, I would say Music Hall is definitely the place to go to if you really want a rocking band experience. You want live music with a dance floor and a live band performing, then Music Hall is the place for you. In addition to all the great seating you have here in the Music Hall, you've also got pool tables on the back and 2 floors. It is just a great live music venue, and I can't understate how nice it is for people to enjoy a live performance. So now we're moving up to deck 5. The Esplanade has 2 decks to it. We just saw deck 4. And now we're gonna move on to deck 5 of the Royal Esplanade and see what's around there. Before we get into the Esplanade though, of course there is a semi-wraparound deck in the sense that it doesn't wrap all the way around like you might find on the Voyager or Radiance class cruise ships, but here on Quantum of the Seas, it goes around most of the ship. You'll just run into an end if you get to the very front or the very back, but great views out here, be able to enjoy, and it's very quiet. Probably an underrated spot. Very quiet viewing area on Quantum of the Seas. You can go down here anytime and enjoy the views. All right, let's get back into the Royal Esplanade and start off with Wonderland, which is a specialty restaurant on Quantum of the Seas. Wonderland is loosely based on Alice in Wonderland story, and essentially it's a specialty restaurant that serves up what would otherwise be, let's call it normal food, but the idea here is the food is all presented in a creative and inspired way. Things basically don't look like what they should look like, and they taste different than they look like, if that makes any kind of sense. So basically you'll have, a particular food dish served to you in an unconventional way, which again, has that kind of like everything is a little more curious down here because again, of that Alice in Wonderland theme that you have. It's a fun restaurant to try out. Specialty restaurant, has a cover charge here. And so my advice is if you've never dined here before, it's a cool one to try. My kids actually liked it way more than I thought they would, and it has become a must-do anytime we go on a ship that has Wonderland. There's also the Picture This photo studio, so if you're looking for a formal portrait sitting, as opposed to just stopping by and getting a photo taken elsewhere on the ship, well, this is the studio for you. There is a sitting fee for this. You can stop in and make a reservation, get all the pricing for that, but if you're looking for a private photo opportunity, then that is gonna be the one for you. You'll also find the Shore Excursions desk on Deck 5 of the Esplanade, and this is where you can go to book a shore excursion, ask a question. I would argue you can book the shore excursion through the app, so there's really no reason to go here to actually book one, unless you don't have a smart device, I suppose. But really, for most people, when they go to the shore excursion desk, they're looking to get a question answered about something that the tour they're either booked on or looking to book. In the other case, you go to the shore excursion desk to take that, and they'll be able to help you with that in most cases. But there are tablets that you can use in order to book something there. The Bionic Bar is also located on Deck 5 of the Royale Esplanade, and the Bionic Bar is, well, as you can see here, robots that serve you drinks. You tap your SeaPass card on a tablet, order your drink there, and then the robots make the drink in the queue. Now, the drinks here do cost extra, and if you have a drink package, then it's included here, but otherwise you have to pay extra for the drinks. It's a neat thing to see for the first time, no doubt about it, because they will make you really almost any kind of drink. You specify exactly you want it to have this liquor, this mix, this soda, and they can make also non-alcoholic beverages. If you got kids, they can definitely still stop by the Bionic Bar and get a drink over there. One of my other favorite restaurants of all time is Izumi Sushi on the Royale Esplanade. So Izumi here on Quantum of the Seas offers sushi. It doesn't have the hot items that you might find on other Izumi restaurants on Royal Caribbean. So there's no hibachi here, and there's not the soups that you might find. But if you're a sushi lover, Izumi is the place to go. It is an a la carte restaurant, which means you pay for what you order. Unlike a cover charge in which everything's included, you only pay for what you order. So if you order one roll, well, then you can only pay for one roll. There's also a fixed price option in the menu, at least at the recording of this video. I don't recommend it. You don't get nearly the same size of rolls. So my advice to you is to order sushi a la carte and say, no, I don't want to do the fixed price. I want to do sushi a la carte, and you'll be good to go there. And there's plenty of sushi options to choose from, and it's available for dinner every night, lunch on some days, depends on the day. Check it out. Schooner Bar is our next stop, and the Schooner Bar is a venerable staple of any Royal Caribbean cruise ship. The Schooner Bar is where you can go to enjoy, well, of course, a drink, live music in the evening, and it's also probably the hub for all trivia on board. You'll find trivia in other venues as well, but man, something about the Schooner Bar and trivia, they just go hand in hand. Schooner Bar has a very loose nautical theme to it, and it is pronounced schooner, not schooner, but it's a great place to go and grab a drink, and a lot of people like going out here to hang out. Again, it's a Royal Caribbean staple. If you cruise a lot with Royal Caribbean, you'll find a Schooner Bar in every one of its ships, and here on Quantum, this is a rather large venue, and as you can see here in this video, it's very popular for things like trivia. In the evening, there's a piano player that's really popular as well. Right next door is Chops Grill. Chops Grill located on Deck 5, right near Schooner Bar, and this is the signature Royal Caribbean steakhouse. Again, a specialty restaurant which has a covered charge to dine here, so you pay one fee and your food is included. And you might imagine there's a lot of different steaks to choose from: filet mignon and New York strip and ribeye, a variety of other options as well. They also have salads, they have chicken, they've got awesome sides. And Chops Grill is just an all-time favorite among Royal Caribbean cruise fans because for a lot of people, a good steak is hard to beat, and that is exactly what you'll find at Chops. Chops is open for dinner every night, and on some days for lunch as well. In fact, on an embarkation day, it tends to be open. If you're doing Chef's Table, you'll find Chef's Table in the back of Chops Grill. Chef's Table is a multi-course, intimate dining experience. You can purchase that before your cruise as well. Let's move across the way to the photo area. So if you take a photo on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, one of the photographers takes a photo of you, you can go right over here to see what your photos look like. When you stop at one of the photo stations around the ship, there's no obligation or fee to do so, but over here, you can actually purchase your photos. There's the option of a printed photo or a digital download. It's up to you which one you prefer, and you can peruse and see the photos that are there. It's all via facial recognition, and basically you swipe your SeaPass card in there, and then bam, they show you the photos probably of you. Occasionally you get some oddball ones that are not you, but in any case, it does a pretty good job of it, and you can review all the photos and order some, not order some. There are photo packages you can do. Anyway, it's all done here at the Focus Photo Gallery. At the front of the ship is the Royal Theatre, and the Royal Theatre is where you can go to, well, enjoy some shows in the evening. The Royal Theatre primarily has shows in the evening, and this is, I think, where most people end up going here, but they'll also have headliners and comedians and magicians that perform in the Royal Theatre. It's, as you can see here, a more traditional theater, whereas 270 is more of an avant-garde, new age style theater. This is more your traditional theater that you're expecting. Seating here is first come, first serve. You can reserve seats for shows on Quantum of the Seas before your cruise via the Cruise Planner website. Look for those reservations to appear about a month, 30 days before your cruise via the Cruise Planner. They're complimentary, so make sure you check those out. But as I mentioned, there's also other activities you will find in the Royal Theatre, so refer to the Royal Caribbean app during your cruise for a variety of different activities you may find here. If you're a Diamond member in Crown and Anchor Society, so Diamond Plus or Pinnacle, there's a special area just for you at the Diamond Club. The Diamond Club is basically a lounge just for people that are Diamond members and above in the Crown and Anchor Society. So when you get to Royal Caribbean's customer loyalty program, after a certain amount of cruises, you can reach the status of Diamond, and there are certain perks and benefits, including reserved seating in this lounge for you. You can come here any day, 24 hours a day. In the evening hours, there are hors d'oeuvres and drink service available, and there's also a 24-hour coffee machine, which is really nice to have. And then in the breakfast and lunch, they have really just, small food that you can sample. It's not quite a meal. I wouldn't call it a restaurant by any means, but there's still something served over here, which is really nice. You also find the Diamond Concierge in the Diamond Lounge, and the Diamond Concierge is like a special guest services, if you will, specifically for Diamond members. If you have a question or concern, you can go there instead of waiting in line at guest services, and the Diamond Concierge can definitely help you out. Let's check out the restaurants on the Quantum of the Sea, starting with American Icon Grill. So you're gonna find 4 different main dining rooms. There's not one specific main dining room. Traditionally on Royal Caribbean, there's one dining room, right? Well, here you've got 4 separate dining rooms with 4 different themes, and here's American Icon Grill. Rest assured, the menu is exactly the same at all the 4 of them. Way back when the ship launched, there was a different concept for dining that Royal Caribbean experimented with. That went to the wayside. So today, basically, when you're in the American Icon Grill or Silk or the Grand, you're basically gonna have the same menu in any of those restaurants. Now, Royal Caribbean offers for the main dining room traditional and my time dining. Traditional dining, you have the same table, same dining time, and same waiters every night. My time dining, you get to choose to either pre-book a reservation for a specific time, and you can change the time any day of the cruise. You might also have different table mates and different wait staff during your meal. There's pros and cons to both. You can done videos about which one you might want to choose. You can do this, by the way, before the cruise. Anyway, look for our videos for more information about dining on board. But the bottom line here is, no matter which table they serve you at, it's gonna be the same menu. On the bottom of your SeaPass card, it will tell you which table you're assigned to, which room you're assigned to, and you just go there. You're also gonna find a casino on Quantum of the Seas at Casino Royale. Casino Royale offers a variety of different gaming options, slots, table games. You're gonna find it all over here. It's a pretty large casino in the grand scheme of things, with lots of different slot machines, a variety of different table games, including craps, roulette, blackjack, poker, and maybe even another game or two, depending on what's happening during the time there. But if you want to try your luck at the casino, well, Casino Royale is the spot for you. We're also going to check out the Concierge Club. So if you're staying in a suite, which is a grand suite or above, sorry, Junior Suite guests, you have access to the Concierge Club, which is located on the back of the ship. And the Concierge Club is essentially a dedicated lounge just for people who are staying in a suite. The Concierge Club has, I would argue, one of the best benefits, which is the concierge person themselves. The concierge is a crew member who can assist you with reservations anywhere on the ship, whether it's for dining or entertainment, shore excursions. They can handle it all for you. If you're staying in a suite, you should get an email from the concierge a couple days before your cruise, probably about 5 or so, and they'll instruct you with all information how the concierge works, what time the hours are. But you'll find complimentary food and beverages. This is the best part about staying in the suite, because you get access to the concierge lounge and those free drinks. You heard it right. Free alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, sodas, beers, wines in the evening. It's a really nice perk. Now, of course, we're also going to find the conference center. If you're not part of a group and no one's telling you to go to the conference center, there's no reason for you to ever go to the conference center, but it does exist on Quantum of the Seas in case you're going to maybe book a cruise for a trip with a group or work trip. It's an option for you as well. And of course, there are elevators throughout the cruise ship that can take you. There's actually 2 elevator banks, one in the forward part of the ship, one in the aft. And the elevators can get kind of busy, but there's always stairs you can rely on, so it's up to you whether you want to check it out or not. Here we have an example of the cabins. There's many different cabins on the cruise ship. We talked about the suites a little bit, but there's also inside rooms. This is actually a virtual balcony cabin. So instead of it being an inside room, there's a virtual window that looks out to, with real-time views, by the way, of the outside. The idea here is that instead of having a wall, you have a floor-to-ceiling TV that shows high-definition views of outside. So don't look at it as a replacement for a balcony, more of as an enhancement for an inside room. But no matter which cabin you have, you're gonna have a bed, you're gonna have a private bathroom, you're gonna have a sitting area, you're gonna have your own shower, and all the basic amenities that you're gonna need. Now, if you're in a bigger room, like a balcony or an ocean view, well, then the space you get is more enlarged. And obviously with the suite, the amenities get much larger and more opulent. But what you're seeing here in this inside room is actually a really good representation of the basics. Storage space, your bed, a sitting area, and of course, a private bathroom. We haven't checked out yet the spa on board. So here's the Vitality Spa and Salon on Quantum of the Seas. Vitality Spa and Salon is where you can go to, well, of course, get your hair done, get your nails done. Everything here in the spa and salon costs extra, but if you're looking to get your hair done or your nails done, you can make an appointment here. My advice, no matter what you're doing in the spa, is to make a reservation before the cruise because times do go quickly. If you're doing a massage, you can always go to the spa to get that done as well. They offer sweetest massages, hot stones, bamboo, acupuncture, facials, you name it. They pretty much do it all over here. And again, you can either pre-book it before the cruise or you can actually book it while on board. In fact, you can take a tour of the spa on the first day of the cruise. You can do it actually any day, but the first day is the most popular. And when you take the spa tour, they can show you what venues they have, what amenities they offer, and then it's up to you to make a reservation for it or not. One thing that Quantum of the Seas does have is a thermal spa. As you can see here, these are the thermal seats. The thermal spa is where you can go to get a day pass to it. Basically, you purchase a pass and it's available for the duration of the cruise. It's up to you. It's like come as you go and enjoy it as you will to enjoy the thermal spa. And there's a variety of different options, including the thermal seats and a sauna and a rainforest room. Kind of cool. If you want to work out during your cruise, the Vitality Fitness Center is available. Fitness Center is totally complimentary. You'll find exercise bikes and free weights and weight machines. Royal Caribbean does offer exercise classes, which do cost extra. But if you just want to work out and go on the treadmill or the elliptical or lift some weights or all of those things all together, you can definitely do that in the fitness center, no additional cost. And it's pretty impressive, I gotta say, because if you've been to some hotels or even resorts, you know, the fitness center is basically like a corner or a closet with some weights in there, but there's a fair amount of weights and machines to use. It's a pretty big space, and I think it's gonna have enough for you to keep you going during your cruise. For kids, there's Adventure Ocean. Adventure Ocean is a complimentary programming option for kids between the ages of 3 years old and 12 years old. And Adventure Ocean is broken up by ages. So you've got the Aquanauts, which is 3 to 5. Then you've got Voyagers, which is 9 to 11, and Explorers, which is 6 to 8. And the idea here is that the programming is curated for that age group. So obviously the 3 and 5-year-olds are gonna want to do something different than the 9 and 11-year-olds. You kind of get the idea there. You sign up your kids for Adventure Ocean. It is complimentary, as I mentioned. Drop them off while they're open, and you can go and do something else, which is really great for parents. And for kids, it's great too, because they get to enjoy things on their own. There's also the Royal Babies and Tots Nursery. Now, the nursery is for kids between the ages of 6 months, 36 months old. The nursery costs extra, but as a parent who sent both their kids to the nursery over the years, I can tell you it's the best money you've ever spent. You need to make reservations for the nursery, and you can do so at the nursery. For Adventure Ocean, from 3 years old to 11 years old, there is no cost between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. After 10 p.m., there is an hourly cost. Again, totally worth the cost if you ask me. Stop by Adventure Ocean on day one. It's a really good idea to be able to register on the first day, get them signed up, answer your questions, and of course be able to be prepared for later that evening to drop your kids off at Adventure Ocean or the nursery and be able to enjoy that. So that way the kids get to do something fun with other kids their age, and you as the parent get to enjoy time alone without the kids. Well, there you have it, a look at Quantum of the Seas, a full walkthrough tour of this amazing cruise ship. No matter where you're sailing in the world, Quantum of the Seas is a great ship because the Quantum class has truly stood the test of time, and I love some of the innovations and features you have on there. Hopefully, when you go on Quantum of the Seas now, you're going to be prepared for an amazing cruise experience because you've been able to see everything the ship has to offer before ever stepping on board. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know of a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyaleCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.